The moon is a dead rock. No gold worth flying home, no oil, no diamonds, no forests, nothing. Just gray dust, empty craters, and silence stretching back 4.5 billion years. So why, in the last 2 years, have the United States, China, Russia, India, Japan, and a whole pile of private companies you have never heard of all started racing back to it at once? Why is everyone suddenly desperate to dig into a place we visited once, 50 years ago, and then completely forgot about? Because buried in that dust is the one thing that turns the moon from a destination into a gas station for the whole solar system. And the first country to plant a drill, not a flag, basically wins the next century of space. So let us break down what is actually down there, and why the smartest people on Earth cannot stop talking about it. First, the biggest misunderstanding, because almost everyone gets this wrong. No one is mining the moon to ship riches back to Earth. That sounds great in a movie, but the math is brutal. The moon sits at the bottom of a gravity well. Earth sits at the bottom of a deeper one. Hauling rock down from the moon through space and landing it safely here would cost far more than the rock could ever be worth. It makes no sense. So that's not the plan. The plan is the opposite. Use what's up there, don't bring it home. Build with it, breathe it, burn it as fuel, all on the moon. Scientists have a clunky name for this: in situ resource utilization, which just means using local stuff instead of shipping everything from Earth. Once that clicks, the whole moon rush suddenly makes sense. So what's worth digging for? Start with the big one: water. Now, the moon looks bone dry, and most of it is. But near the South Pole, there are craters so deep and so perfectly angled that sunlight has literally never reached the bottom. Not for a season, not for 1,000 years. In some places, not for billions of years. The moon barely tilts, so the sun just skims sideways across the poles and never climbs over the crater rims. Down in those shadows, the temperature drops below -170 degrees Celsius, colder than the surface of Pluto. Here's why that matters. Over billions of years, comets and icy asteroids slammed into the moon, and most of that water got blasted away by sunlight or escaped into space. But anything that drifted into those frozen craters got trapped. The cold turned them into a deep freezer. Molecules went in and never came back out. The estimates are all over the place, but the models suggest the poles could be holding anywhere from hundreds of billions to trillions of kilograms of ancient ice. But water on the moon is not valuable because astronauts get thirsty. It is valuable because of what water actually is. Split a water molecule and you get two things: oxygen, which you breathe, and hydrogen, one of the most powerful rocket fuels we have ever used. So that frozen crater is not a puddle. It is an air supply and a fuel depot sitting on the surface, waiting for someone to claim it. And this is where it gets huge, because of one piece of gravity math. Launching anything off Earth is insanely expensive. Earth's gravity is enormous, and every kilogram of fuel you want out in deep space has to be dragged up off the planet first, fighting the strongest gravity well we can launch from. It costs a fortune. But the moon's gravity is only 1/6 of ours. Lifting off from there is almost easy by comparison. So picture it. A spacecraft heading for Mars does not have to haul every drop of fuel from Earth. It launches light, stops at the moon, fills up on hydrogen and oxygen made from lunar ice, and continues on with a full tank. The moon becomes a gas station, a pit stop, a launch pad for the rest of the solar system. That one shift rewrites the economics of every deep space mission ever planned, and that, more than anything, is why everyone wants in. But water isn't the only treasure up there. Here's something most people have no clue about. The dust itself, the plain gray dirt covering the entire moon, is roughly 40 to 45% oxygen by weight. Almost half. It's just locked up, chemically bound inside the rock. You can't breathe it as is, but heat that soil up, run a current through it, and you can pull the oxygen straight out of the dirt. Labs on Earth have already done it, pulling out nearly all of it. And the leftovers? Metal, iron, titanium, aluminum, the stuff you'd actually build with. So the ground under your boots becomes both your air supply and your construction yard. No shipping required. Now, the wild card. The one that gets the headlines and the breathless documentaries. Helium-3. It is a rare isotope that is almost non-existent on Earth, but for billions of years the solar wind has been blasting it into the lunar soil, where it just sits, soaked into the top layer of dust. And in theory, helium-3 could be a near-perfect fuel for nuclear fusion. Clean, ridiculously energy-dense, the kind of thing that could power a city for a year on a few truckloads of dirt. But I will be honest with you, because a lot of videos will not. We cannot actually do this yet. We do not have reactors that can efficiently burn helium-3. We barely have fusion working at all. So the helium-3 dream is a lottery ticket, not the real driver. The long shot that might pay off decades from now. It is so valuable if it ever works that a few players are quietly watching it just in case. So keep it in the back of your mind. But do not let anyone tell you it is the reason for the rush. It is not. The water is. Because here is the thing that makes this an actual race, and not just science. The real prize isn't the ice, or the oxygen, or the helium. It's the precedent. Whoever builds the first working extraction system on the moon gets to write the rules for everyone who comes after. There is a treaty, the Outer Space Treaty, signed back in 1967, and it says no nation can own the moon. Nobody can plant a flag and claim the whole thing. Fine, but that treaty was written before anyone seriously thought about digging, and it says almost nothing clear about who owns what you dig up. If you extract the water, is it yours? If you build a base on the best crater rim, can anyone else come use it? Nobody really knows. And here is the kicker. There are only a handful of spots near the South Pole that have both near constant sunlight for power and frozen water close by. A handful. So whoever sets up on those spots first does not just grab the resources. They grab the high ground, the rules, and the leverage. It is a land grab nobody is officially calling a land grab. And this is not some far-off someday story. The drills are basically on the launch pad already. Over the next 3 to 5 years, there is a wave of missions aimed at those exact craters. Landers built to touch down at the South Pole. Hopping probes designed to leap into the permanently shadowed craters that ordinary rovers cannot survive, hunting for ice directly. Experiments that bake bricks out of moon dust to see if you can build on site. And serious proposals to park a nuclear reactor on the surface to keep a base alive through the freezing 14-day lunar night. Every one of these is a piece of the same machine. They are not exploring anymore. They are prospecting. So step back and look at how far this has come. For 50 years, the moon was a finish line. We crossed it once in 1969, planted some flags, grabbed some rocks, and then we just stopped. It became a closed chapter, a thing humanity did once and walked away from. It is not a finish line anymore. It is the starting line. And the first real off-world economy will not be built by whoever gets there fastest. It will be built by whoever figures out how to live off the land once they arrive. How to turn dust into air, ice into fuel, and a dead rock into a stepping stone to everywhere else. So here's the real question. Out of everyone racing right now, China, the US, all those private companies aiming at the same few craters, who do you actually think plants the first drill and writes the rules? Drop your bet in the comments. I genuinely want to see what you think. And if you want to follow this race as it unfolds, because trust me, it is barely started, hit like and subscribe. You are going to want to be here when somebody finally makes their move.